The world watches in horror. Ukraine is at war. Russia invaded in February 2022. This conflict has global implications. It is a humanitarian crisis. Millions have fled their homes. Cities lie in ruins. The war has brought death and destruction. This is not just a regional conflict. It is a challenge to the international order. Russia's actions violate Ukraine's sovereignty. They undermine international law. The world is grappling with the consequences. The conflict has exposed divisions in the West. It has raised questions about the future of global security. The stakes are high for all involved. Ukraine is fighting for its survival. Russia seeks to assert its dominance. The United States and its allies are trying to contain the conflict. They are providing support to Ukraine. They are imposing sanctions on Russia. The outcome of this war remains uncertain. However, one thing is clear: this conflict will have long-lasting consequences. It has already reshaped the geopolitical landscape. It has reminded us of the fragility of peace. The world is holding its breath. We are all waiting to see what the future holds. The Ukraine war has exposed differences in US foreign policy. Former President Trump and President Biden have contrasting views. Trump has praised Putin's actions. He has called him a genius. Biden has condemned Putin's aggression. He has called him a war criminal. These differing views reflect different approaches to foreign policy. Trump favors a transactional approach. He prioritizes personal relationships with world leaders. Biden emphasizes multilateralism and diplomacy. He believes in working with allies to address global challenges. Trump's approach to the Ukraine conflict was often ambiguous. He withheld military aid from Ukraine. He appeared sympathetic to Putin's position. This raised concerns about his commitment to NATO and European security. Biden has taken a more assertive stance. He has rallied international support for Ukraine. He has provided billions of dollars in military aid. He has imposed severe sanctions on Russia. Biden's approach has been praised by many for its resolve. However, it has also drawn criticism from some who fear escalation. To understand the current conflict, we must look to the past. Putin's actions in Ukraine did not start in 2022. In 2014, Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula. This was a blatant violation of international law. It was met with condemnation from the international community. Russia also supported separatists in eastern Ukraine. This led to a protracted conflict in the Donbas region. Thousands of people were killed. Millions were displaced from their homes. The Minsk agreements were signed in 2014 and 2015. These were attempts to bring an end to the fighting. However, they failed to achieve a lasting peace. Putin's actions in Crimea and the Donbas were a warning sign. They demonstrated his willingness to use military force. They showed his disregard for international norms. The West's response was muted. Sanctions were imposed, but they were not enough to deter Putin. This emboldened Putin. It created a sense of impunity. It paved the way for the current conflict. The lessons of Crimea and the Donbas are clear. Appeasement does not work. Aggression must be met with strength. The international community must stand united against authoritarianism. The war in Ukraine is a tragedy. It is a reminder of the human cost of conflict. It is imperative that we find a way to end the bloodshed. The path forward is fraught with challenges, but diplomacy must be the priority. Negotiations between Russia and Ukraine have been ongoing, but progress has been slow, trust is low, the stakes are high. A ceasefire is urgently needed. This would allow for humanitarian aid to reach those in need. It would create space for meaningful dialogue. The role of the United States is crucial. It must continue to provide support to Ukraine. It must maintain pressure on Russia, but it must also be open to dialogue. The risks of escalation are real. A direct military confrontation between NATO and Russia would be catastrophic. All sides must exercise restraint. Compromise will be necessary. There will be no easy solutions. But the pursuit of peace must be relentless. The future of Ukraine and the international order hangs in the balance. We cannot afford to fail.